welcome to another Live at 5, where I come live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. It's all in the name, and I just answer very quickly a question that I get asked quite a bit. So today we are actually covering what's the difference between tarot and oracle. I get that asked all the time because I provide both of those. Also when I worked in a shop as well where we sold tarot and oracle cards, people didn't really know the difference. So this is a video for those people that don't know about that. So let's dive right into it. What are tarot cards to start off with? Tarot cards, they didn't used to be, but that's another thing for another time. But nowadays they are very structured. They usually have 78 cards in a deck. Some have one or two more, not all the time though. And what we do is we have them divided into major and minor arcana. So we have 22 cards in the major and we have 56 in the minor. Now each of these cards are very, very specific. They mean very, very individual things. However, different decks mean slightly different things. So for example, usually the Three of Hearts has these swords going into a heart, and it's a very harsh image about grief and suffering and stuff like that. However, in the Druid craft, we actually have the swords are not in the heart, so it's all about healing. So when you get this in this deck, it's more about healing from the grief rather than actually talking about the grief itself or to expect the grief to come. We usually have sort of scary cards, let's say, especially with Hollywood and stuff, like death. But death never really means death. It's usually about change in a good way, one that's actually going to propel you forward in your life. And although it may seem like you're losing something at the time, it's actually really good for you. And one more quickly is the wheel. The wheel is usually about how fate kind of guides you along, and you can be riding high and enjoying yourself 1 minute, and then the next minute all comes crashing down. So a lot of the decks have about that, about how you don't necessarily have control over your own life. However, once again, with the Druid craft, it's about a lady who is on the beach and she is drawing her own fate. So she is deciding her own future and her own way forward, and if she doesn't like it, she can erase it because it's just in sand, or the tide will eventually come along and get rid of it and she can draw a new path forward, things like that. So that's just a very, very brief. I could talk for hours as I normally do about tarot, but I'll stop there with that. There's so many different types of tarot as well. So the most obvious one is like TV shows and movies. You can actually get your favorite TV show or movie in a tarot deck. And usually if they're done right, they get the characters or the situations and they put them in the proper order of the tarot cards of what they actually mean usually as well. So it's nice and easy for you to continue to learn what the cards mean through your favorite TV show and through the events that you remember from it. So for example, I have the supernatural one, I have Game of Thrones, and I have Stranger Things. So just a very quick example, those of you that know Supernatural, so it's about these two guys that travel around and it's all about their lives, and they're the Fool card, and the Fool card actually means about someone beginning their journey and starting their story, and they are the main character, and all the cards around them are their life and their progress. So actually that's a really good one to have in that deck. And their car that they carry, they travel around in, is the Chariot, which obviously is great, you know, in that deck. Game of Thrones fans, really quickly, the Empress is all about motherhood and caring and abundance and success and things like that. So of course it's Daenerys, the mother of dragons. And the King of Spears is all about strength, but also it's a very likable, very confident man. And of course that is Ned Stark. So if you don't know those shows, then that was probably really boring. But if you do, then that kind of helps you understand a little bit about those. Moving on, because I will just rant on, as you know, oracle cards. So oracle cards are a little bit different. They can be absolutely anything. They can be as many as you want. They can be any subject at all, and mean anything that the creator wants them to mean. So I have one that is the Isis Oracle, which is about the goddess Isis from Egypt. And I have this one here is the Avalon one. So I'm just using these two to just show a slight difference. So this Oracle deck has a title and then it has a very brief one sentence about the card. Whereas the other one has a name, like a title, and then just 4 words around the card itself to just give keywords about what the card means. So Oracle is actually kind of easy because you can just read what's said on the card as well as use your intuition with the pictures. So you would usually use Oracle if you just need a very quick kind of overall idea of the answer to your question, whereas Tarot can go very, very deep, and it can be quite forceful in its answers as well. So the way that I always kind of describe Oracle versus Tarot is Oracle is your hippie best friend that just says everything's great, you look beautiful, everything works out for a reason, life's just fantastic and you're fantastic and you're doing so well. And so Oracle's very encouraging and very filled with love. Tarot, on the other hand, I love tarot. Tarot, on the other hand, is your best friend that does not lie to you. It's the one that tells you, yes, you look fat in that dress. Yes, you know that you shouldn't be eating all of that chocolate cake. That relationship is really bad for you. Get out now. Like, they're not going to pull any punches, and Tarot will give you an honest answer. So if you know what the answer is and you just don't want to hear that, don't ask the tarot cards. Don't ever ask the tarot cards. Ask your Oracle deck, because they'll tell you everything's fine and everything's beautiful and you're wonderful. So that's just very much that. I'm really trying to do this quickly because it's such a huge subject for me. If you do have any questions about Tarot or Oracle, leave the comments in the replay that I'm going to be posting on Facebook and on Instagram. And you can always DM me as well, or we can have a free chat as well about Tarot and Oracle so you can understand it a little bit better if that's what you'd like. So very quickly, yeah, you just kind of use the tarot for sort of deeper things where you really need an answer. So a career change, or a relationship, or a health issue, something where you need a real answer kind of thing to a question that you have. Whereas Oracle can be just kind of like, am I kind of on the right path? Is everything good? You know, it's kind of a nice sort of like comforting kind of reading, but it's not very specific to an answer. So that does actually frustrate a lot of people with Oracle. You can as well always use the two together. I use all the time in spreads Tarot and Oracle, and together they complement really well. So find a deck that you really, really connect with on both sides and use them together in a reading, and that's going to be super powerful for you. Yeah, so in conclusion, pretty much it's whatever you feel drawn to. Always choose a deck that you resonate with, whether that's because it's a subject that you really enjoy as a theme to it, or you just kind of really love the imagery or the names in the cards and stuff like that. Once again, if you have any questions, please do drop them in the comments of the replay or DM me directly. That can be on Tarot and Oracle, or that can literally just be about any other subject that I am a practitioner in or that I teach. And I will either do a video about it in the future, or I will just let you know either way the answer. Yeah, next Wednesday, live at 5, is Pendulums 101, Understanding the Basics and Practical Uses. So if you don't know anything about pendulums, or you'd like to know the very, very basics about it, then I will be explaining all next Wednesday, and I will even be showing you how to use a pendulum, and you don't need to buy a special one for the event either. I'll show you how to do it with household objects as well. So until next Wednesday, and this has gone a little bit over the 5 minutes, I'm so sorry. Until next Wednesday, I wish you all a wonderful week, and yeah, I will see you next week. Have a wonderful day.